This could be the end of the Idaho murders case. We have an update here, and this is pretty massive. Bryan Kohberger has pleaded guilty to all 38 felony counts against him in connection with the University of Idaho murders. This is something that nobody saw coming. We were just talking about this yesterday, how it appeared that Bryan Kohberger was not going to agree to any plea deal. Kaylee Goncalves' family released a statement following the announcement, writing, "We have been informed by the prosecutor that tonight Mr. Kohberger has agreed to plead guilty to all 38 felony counts. As I said, like from the beginning, I have always said if Bryan Kohberger did it, if he is guilty, which I believe he is, then he should plead guilty." His attorneys and Taylor and Bill Venice did not immediately respond to requests for comment from NBC News. Now we know that his public defender has been in Taylor, but recently she had filed paperwork to remove herself from the case, and she cited death threats and harassment. Maybe that's a fair trade because that's exactly what he deserves, especially considering the premeditation that went into these crimes. I'm glad that we may have some peace for those families and friends. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Just remember, please be kind because there's still a lot of people hurting from this. I know that we tend to sometimes forget that these are real people behind these cases. And I want to remind everybody that behind every one of these stories, there are real people who are affected by them. Have a great rest of your day. Remember to be kind and stay safe. But either way, I am glad that this appears to be heading in the direction of closure for everybody involved, because this case has obviously consumed every single person that has been involved with it since the very beginning. We've been covering it since day one, and it has just been absolutely heartbreaking to see how much this has impacted everybody. So basically, they were saying that she was getting death threats and harassment from people who believed that her client was guilty. So she filed paperwork to remove herself from the case, and they brought in another lawyer, Bill Venice, who was actually a former prosecutor. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We're really close to hitting a big milestone, but we need your help to do it. So please subscribe and help us get there. So they brought in somebody who knows how the other side works in hopes that they can get a plea deal, which is what they're saying happened here. Each week we cover a different topic based on the news, and the news is based around a quote that was said by a killer or a victim's family member, whatever the case may be. I'll leave the link in the description box below. Please go check it out and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. I love hearing from you guys. So thank you so much for taking the time to leave those kind words. I appreciate each and every one of you. We cover all the topics that we've talked about during the week. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me there. I will answer them. So set reminders and join us this Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So perhaps Taylor was correct. Perhaps they were getting a lot of harassment and death threats, which would obviously be very tough to deal with. I'm sure that was weighing heavy on their minds, and they finally decided to make a deal. He should take the punishment for what he did. There's no need to make everybody go through this trial. The families, the friends, everybody else involved, when he has already been identified as the person that committed these crimes. And it looks like finally he has come to the realization. Although it wasn't announced why he had changed his mind. While we will never bring Kaylee back, this is the best possible outcome for the families and the community. We're grateful to everyone who has supported us through this incredibly difficult time. I don't know what the prosecutors are offering Bryan Kohberger in exchange for his guilty plea, but at this point, it probably doesn't matter. Like I said from the beginning, justice for Kaylee, justice for Madison, justice for Xana, justice for Ethan, and justice for the families and friends. We want justice for everybody involved. And right now it seems like a guilty plea is the only thing that is going to bring the justice. And the prosecution were so far apart on where they wanted to go with this case. The prosecution, of course, was saying that they would not accept any kind of plea deal. They wanted to see this through, which is understandable considering the brutality of these crimes. And then you have the defense who was saying that they believe that there was enough reasonable doubt for their client to not be found guilty on all accounts. So they weren't agreeing to anything either. So this is a big deal that now he has agreed to plead guilty to all 38 counts. He was gonna take his chances in court. Well, apparently he had a change of heart, or he had a change of lawyers, and now we have an update here that says that Bryan Kohberger has indeed agreed to a plea deal. And this one's from NBC News. Breaking news: suspect in Idaho student killings agrees to plead guilty to all charges. It says that the suspect in the killings of 4 University of Idaho students has agreed to plead guilty to all 38 counts against him. A source familiar with the matter confirmed to NBC News. That would include the murder charges. So this is a big deal because, as we've been discussing here on the show, the defense, it says the terms of the deal were not immediately clear. Now this is a really big deal. It does say here that Kohberger originally pleaded not guilty to all charges. So I don't know what kind of deal was made here. And so if it means that the prosecution is offering him life in prison without parole, maybe that's a good trade, so I'm glad that we may have some resolution here. Let me know what you guys think about this case moving forward, and what you guys think about the justice being served in this case. I also want to thank everybody who has been subscribing, who has been leaving the kind words. I've been reading all the comments. If you guys remember, every Friday I do a live stream, and we talk about all things paranormal, true crime, and unsolved mysteries. I also have a new podcast that I'm working on. It's called In Their Words. Thank you guys so much for watching.